So you'd like to know how to make a mosaic bird bath for beginners? Well, you're in the right place. I'm Helen Miles and I'm here to teach you all the tips and tricks you need to make mosaics. First, we're going to look at what you need. The base for our bird bath is going to be a terracotta saucer. Just one of these ordinary ones you get in any garden centre. It would be nice if you can get one which is guaranteed to last the winter if you live in a place where you're likely to get freeze-thaw conditions. So I would recommend that you just ask before you buy it to make sure it's a solid one that's intended for outdoors rather than indoors. This is a no-cut video, so it's about not making a mosaic without needing to cut your materials. You can either use these lovely little ceramic shapes that come in a variety of sizes, which you can buy from mosaic suppliers. You can also use 1 centimetre pre-cut squares from mosaic suppliers. I'm going to be using offcuts from previous mosaic projects, so they're all 1 centimetre square anyway, or roughly so. And the other option is to use broken plates. So most of you, I feel, will probably have some of those lying around at home. And obviously with a broken plate, that would not be a no-cut mosaic because you'd have to cut your pieces in advance. I'm using them in this mosaic because I want to show you how to make the bird bath. I'm interested in teaching you the method, and I want you to then choose the materials that suit you. So if you want a no-cut mosaic with pre-cut shapes, then that's fine. And if you want to use ceramic plates, then that's also an option. When it comes to choosing your tile adhesive thin set, it really doesn't matter which company you buy it from, just make sure it's suitable for outdoors. The first thing you're going to do then is mix your sealer. I'm just using ordinary PVA just to show you. So I'm going to put a little bit into an old yogurt pot. And one spoon is absolutely more than enough. It's probably too much. A little bit of water. So it's a 50-50, so I'm just doing this by eye. That's again plenty. I'm going to mix those up and then paint it on my saucer. Don't forget that your tile adhesive thin set is a cement-based compound and it's going to harden when it dries. So obviously you never want it to go anywhere near the drains. So that's the huge advantage of old yogurt pots. This is actually a cut off half peanut butter pot, because once you've finished, you can just throw the whole thing away and don't have to go anywhere near the sink or the drains. Now I'm going to mix my tile adhesive thin set, and I've done a separate video on this, so I'm not going to go through the whole process again. So head over to the other video, which I'll link at the top now, to see how to mix your tile adhesive thin set. So as you saw, I used about 4 of these spoons of the tile adhesive and added water. And now I've got a thick paste. Now I'm ready to stick. I've left my terracotta saucer to dry, still a little bit wet, but it doesn't matter. And I'm going to start sticking my pieces. And I'm going to have a central little motif using these pre-made ceramic shapes. So I've laid them out. And it does help to have some thought before you start making something like this with the tile adhesive method, because you can't really make adjustments, not really, I mean the odd adjustment, but not serious adjustments once you start making. What I'm doing is just putting a little bit of glue onto each piece and putting them in position. So obviously the tile adhesive thin set is pushing up around them, and that's fine as long as it doesn't go to the level of the pieces themselves, because we are going to be grouting this. But again, even if it does, you can just pick it off. Pick it off when it's wet, I mean. Now you see I've used too much tile adhesive there, which isn't great because it's gone up to the level of the top of the pieces. So I'm just going to, in a minute, take that little bit away. And now I'm going to build up my design, working from the outside rim, or away from the central focal point of the design, working inwards. So that means I have a nice clean edge around the around the perimeter of the saucer. There we go, I've done the outer perimeter, and as I work I'm making sure I haven't got too much excess tile adhesive thin set squeezing out from underneath the pieces, because if I was to go off for lunch or answer the phone or something, this would harden and be quite difficult to deal with. So I don't want it squishing up here onto the sides of the saucer, because I'm not going to mosaic here as well. So you don't have to be too particular about it. It's only if you think you're going to be making your bird bath in different stages and you can't be committed to working on it in one session. So I did say you could use these pre-cut 1 centimetre square pieces, but in fact, I forgot to mention that you could equally use the full-size 2 centimetre square pieces. And I've just put them down here to show them to you and realised there's a rather nice contrast, isn't there, between the little pieces and the big pieces. So I think I'm going to do a ring of the big pieces next. And you can see that my spacing isn't too great there. And that's going to happen with no cut mosaics where you're not actually cutting the pieces, because of course you're not shaping them and therefore you can't get them to be precise. And so the way I'll deal with this is just nudge them all along a little bit so that that space I just showed you is not quite so wide. There we go. So if you did want to create this kind of perfect circle, all beautifully shaped, then I have done a separate video on keystones, which talks about cutting for curves. Now I'm putting in my little pieces of broken pottery, which obviously have been cut, as I said before, and the reason that I'm adding them is simply to show you that it's exactly the same technique for using this material as it is for flat tiles like the ones I've been using up until now. So just a little bit, like a little squidge of tile adhesive on the back, and place them in position. Now I'm going to fill in the centre with much lighter bits to have a little bit of contrast between the border, the centre motif and the bit around it. So I've left this to dry overnight and it's ready to grout. I'm going to be using a mid-grey grout. This one is made by Bal and is called Smoke. I also use one of theirs called Cement, I think it's called. Anyway, a mid-grey. And again, I've done a separate video on grout colours, and I'll link that in the description below. So I'm just going to mix up the grout and start applying it to the mosaic. And I've done a separate video again about grouting, so if you need more detail, then please again see that link in the description below. There we are, I've grouted it and I'm just about to clean it. But before I do that, I'm just filling the gaps between the bits, the mosaic pieces and the edge of the saucer, just so it's nice and clean around the edges. Now that needs just a little time for the grout to set, and I can rub it with a rag and it will be beautifully clean. Now I'm cleaning any excess grout that's gone onto the inside rim, which I obviously need to clean that while it's still wet, or rather damp, and it comes off easily. And there you have it, a lovely little bird bath. A simple, easy, no-cut mosaic project. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it and you'd like to see more, then please subscribe below.